Hello, everyone. Just got back from seeing Sinister. I gotta say, I did like it, but I felt that it was overhyped. I felt that the people that had seen it before me overhyped it. Therefore, I went in expecting, oh, this like just game changer of horror. Unfortunately, I felt like, eh. Coincidentally, it's from the producers of Insidious, and it felt a lot like Insidious, only it didn't have that stupid bullshit plot point where, you have that old lady explaining the other, and they reach out to us, and all that other crap. Hated that. That to me, I was like, oh, this movie's getting good. And then that happened, and I was like, what? What? Now you're spoon feeding me this bullshit? It's like, creators of Saw, that must have been their input. And then the rest of it was just everybody else's. I don't know. But, I'm not going to talk about Insidious. That's a movie long since gone. And, it had its run. It did well. I liked Insidious. Despite all that crap, I liked it. So, Sinister revolves around this crime novelist, and he basically writes novels based on crimes that had happened in areas that he's living in and stuff like that. His wife supports it, and then he has two kids. Oh, they have two kids. A little girl whose name escapes me. I didn't really follow up on the names really, except for the main guy, Allison, who's played by that one guy that was in what was that vampire movie that came out like 2 years ago? It's the one where they're in the city, like vampires basically rule the world, and I forget the name. I know he was in it though, but why can I not remember that stupid ass movie? Because I hated the shit out of that movie. Oh, that might be why. I like the concept of that movie, but I thought it was just poorly executed. Because that movie had some fucking potential, but I can't remember the name of it. Somebody put in a comment the name of that movie. Actually, I'll probably just look it up here in a bit. But anyway. Yeah, it stars that guy. I don't know who the actress was. I know she's a play actress. Like she's been in a lot of plays. She's not really a big movie person, so this is kind of like her debut almost. But she's been into acting before, so it's not like she has never acted before. And then you also have some other people. There's this deputy that helps out Allison's character, or Allison, and then the sheriff, who's kind of that douchebag, but in reality he's kind of the wise one. You should listen to what this guy's saying because he's trying to save your life. But it's pretty cliche. So off the bat, yes, there will be spoilers. I'm going to start this off as the review, which is going to be kind of mildly spoiler heavy. And then I'm going to have the discussion at the end where I basically just talk about the movie itself, which is basically, where you're going to see this movie is like, holy crap, it's fucking 20 minutes long or something like that. It's going to be because I discussed some of the things about the movie. That's kind of how I feel like I should set up my movie reviews and just have like the review and then the discussion, and then people that don't mind hearing spoilers can listen to me make more direct criticisms towards the actual film itself and just the plot points in the film. So the film again stars Allison and his family, and I have to say all the actors and actresses, even the kid ones, did their part and they did their part well. I didn't see a single actor or actress that just pissed me off or annoyed me. In fact, the lines between Allison and the deputy were actually quite humorous. They were very lightning when you have the very tense atmosphere. But getting on with that, I won't say it is the most tense atmosphere because honestly, the way the film works is okay. Allison's doing this crime novel. He moves into this house where this crime happened. He knows that it happened there, but he doesn't tell his wife or kids. And the sheriff pretty much does about everything he can to make Allison want to move just because of that house's, I guess, history. And so, he goes on his little, he kind of blows the sheriff like, this guy, he's just jealous that I'm, making all this money, that I'm this famous, and that I'm solving more crimes than the cops are and stuff like that. So he goes on with it, and as he's digging through the house, he finds this, box. And in this box are, those really old, from, the 70s and 60s, those film reels. So he plays those, and what you see are, these just horrifying murders. I mean, just these whole families just getting killed in really bad ways. There was one where they drowned, and this is where the horror aspect was really playing into me. I'm like, okay, now this shit's really getting freaky right now. This is turning into a freaky ass movie, and I mean, you see these families, they're having a good time, they're enjoying each other's company, they're just having good family fun, and then it just flips, just completely flips. The first one I believe was how did the first group die? I think they died by drowning. And what had happened was somebody had duct taped them to these those chairs that you sit at a pool. I know they have a name, but the folding chairs, you know what I mean. So they're duct taped to that, and they're all looks like they're kind of dazed. And then there's these ropes, and they're tied to something at the end of the pool. I assume they're held down by like a weight or something. And one by one, they just start. Whoever's doing the killing just drops just pretty much pulls the ropes, and it drags the chairs because those chairs sink. They don't float, and these people are duct taped to them, so they can't break free or anything like that. So he sees that, he sees that crap, and then you have another one where these people or this family is duct taped again, and they're trapped in this car, and there's like gasoline, just gas cans everywhere. Throws a match in, whole car just basically blows up. There was one that was just, I would have to say, was the most gruesome. You don't see anything, mind you, but that one was bad. All right, if any of you have seen The Happening, and there's that one bit where that guy lays down for the lawnmower, yeah, that happens. That happens. This movie was actually not. I want to say it was fairly heavy, actually, on the jump scares. And those jump scares are fucking cheap. That is not how you make a horror movie. Now, granted, all the jump scares were well suited. I mean, you could see some of them coming from like a mile away, but they did their part, and they weren't overdone. They weren't ridiculously thrown at you like, Jason movies and such do. That's the only way the Jason movies can scare you, is if they throw a couple of jump scares in there, like, oh, suddenly, Jason appears. Now, this one actually, some of the jump scares were actually kind of freaky, just because of the image you get of this Bagul guy. This guy just looks. At first, he was freaking me out. But by about the middle of the movie, I was used to seeing his face because you get to see it a lot, so you can adjust to just what it looks like. And it looks like what would happen if Sting and the Faceless Man from Slender, if Sting and Slender Man had like a kid. That's what this guy looks like. He has no eyes, no mouth. It's just like two black holes for his eyes, and then like a black hole for his mouth. I mean, this guy looks fucking just weird. Whoever designed this guy, props to you. This is one of the freakiest looking monsters I've seen in a horror movie, let alone any movie. So yeah, as he delves deeper into this, he more things start to happen, and shit just does not go as he plans, and then it just all caves in on him. And so he has to figure out a way to save himself and his family, before Bagul gobbles them all up, basically. And I have to say the ending was great. I actually liked the ending to this movie. This ending was awesome. This is one of the best endings to a horror movie that I've ever seen, which is more than I can say for that piece of shit not Devil's Rejects. Wow, wrong movie. The Devil Inside. Oh my god, dude. You want to talk about a movie that started off good and ended horrid? That movie right there, that pissed me off. Because I was watching the movie, I'm like, oh, hey, this is good, and then the ending happens, you're like, that was it? Fucking god, But I've been long since over The Devil Inside, and I need to make a video making fun of that. I should do like the top 10 worst horror movies of 2012, if I've even seen 10. I think I've seen maybe 4 or 5, something like that. Of course, I could do top 10 of the 21st century. I don't know. I could just do the top 10 worst horror movies that I've seen, and there's quite a fucking few. I mean, there are actually points in Insidious where I'm like, oh god, this is turning into Freddy Krueger Dream Warriors, where they introduced the other, and you have to go into that other side and save your boy from the fucking Darth Maul looking demon. It's like, what happens if Freddy Krueger meets Darth Maul? Oh. And yeah, Insidious just, I don't even know what the hell to say to that movie's ending. Or the climax. Not the ending, it was the climax that got to me. Just that whole... Actually, even the ending was kind of bullshit. Because it was a misleading ending, I will say that. And only because of one bit, but... It is what it is. I would like to see an Insidious 2, though. Don't get me wrong. I want to see an Insidious 2, and I would not mind seeing a sequel to this movie. Though I doubt we'll get a sequel to either or. But then again, you never know. I mean, if Sinister's a big hit in the box office, which so far I think it's done fairly well... we might see a second one. Could they recreate what made this one good? Yes. In fact, this one was very flawed. Despite being good, it was flawed. But there were just a lot of things they could have done differently. And if they make a sequel, they can do it in that different way, which I'll explain in the the discussion part of the video. So I'll leave it in the comments. I'll just say, hey. or actually even I might even make two separate videos for this. Like I'll make a review and then a discussion. That's what I should start doing, splitting these videos up. Like we have the Sinister review and the Sinister discussion, which okay, I'll say this about the movie. It's a good movie. It's a good horror movie. It is definitely a movie to go see with, like, if you have a girlfriend, go see it with her. And if you're a girl listening to this, grab your boyfriend, go see it. You'll both have a great time. You'll both get scared shitless, at least in a few aspects. The biggest issue I had, though, was the only really terrifying parts where you felt just like, oh god, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? Was when was when Allison was watching those old home videos. And other than that, I was like, okay, he's just wandering around until the next thing jumps out and tries to get him, or jumps out at the camera, or whatever. Granted, there were a few of them that were just creepy as shit. Like, there are some little kids in this movie, and there was just a couple of scenes where they just made me just flip my shit. They're just like, okay, please, stop. Just go away. Just disappear off the camera. And overall, though, good movie, worth seeing. Again, I also think that there has to be a larger crowd in order for this to really play its effect in horror. Because I think horror works in groups. If you're a lone person watching a horror movie, it either scares you too much or it doesn't scare you enough. And this one, I could see it not scaring me enough. Like, I would just, jump back and whatnot, but I wouldn't be like, oh god, I can't sleep at night. But, so yeah, in the end, I like Sinister. It's worth seeing. It was a good movie for what it was. I mean, I didn't have any expectations, although a friend of mine overhyped the fuck out of it. Basically, he explained it to me like, this movie was so scary, there were people walking out of theater because they just couldn't handle how scary it was. And there were these guys that were beside him, and they were flipping their shit. They were like, doing that little awkward, like, oh god, I can't watch, it's too scary. As I was watching this, I'm like, this really made that many people leave? Are you fucking kidding me? I would put this on par with Insidious or even Paranormal Activity as far as its scary factor goes. Granted, there was a lot of creepy shit in this movie, and there were some, like, in those home videos, that was some freaking horror gold right there. Those were fucking gold. I almost wish the movie would have just been short skits of Bagul's, like, little, crusade on killing all these families. I think that would have been a perfect version of the movie, just all these little short skits, like, yeah, you get introduced briefly to this family. You get to see who gets along with who, what they do, and just a little bit of background on them. And then you just see them die in like these gruesome and terrifying ways. And then you have that sense of loneliness on the last one. I think that would have played better. But again, the way this movie played, it was fine. All the actors did really well. Even for a horror movie, even these actors were great. This isn't like Academy Award winning acting, but it was good acting. It was definitely some of the best acting I've seen in a horror movie in quite a while. I would actually put that above Insidious, because I'm comparing these two films a lot because they are a lot similar. But I would say I would take Sinister's cast over Insidious's cast. So, the deputy in this movie is just great. I think he kicks those two nerds from Insidious to the curb. He just kicks those two off to the curb because they were trying too hard. This guy, he just says like some awkward and stupid shit, and just Allison and other characters just kind of say these smart aleck comments. It just makes it great. So, that being said, I'm going to get onto the discussion bit of this, and hope you guys find this review helpful.